As we all know, Atomic Heart was heavily marketed with the famed twins being the face of the game. The twins gained a massive fan base immediately due to their unique and overall sexy appearance. Fans went wild, making memes and fan art in no time. In fact, the twins got so popular that the developers themselves eventually made an Instagram dedicated to them, which I looked up for journalistic purposes, of course. It's fair to say people were feeling some type of way. Apparently, even Zakharov himself seemed to have some robotic urges, just like you dirty dogs. How's it going, guys? My name is Task Variant from Explore the Lore, and today we're going over a theory I have about the oddly seductive robots of Atomic Heart. This video will include spoilers. If you have not played or beat the game, I advise finishing the game then coming back to this video. I think it's safe to say that we were all a little confused on the purpose of the theater of Facility 3826. Why would theater be crucial when it comes to colonizing planets? And why would we prefer robotic ballerinas over humans that convey emotion? Further exploring the lore throughout the game world, we come to find that these robots had a more intimate purpose. The theater was indeed originally a failure, until Listotchkin, the theater director, ordered some upgrades for his performers. In order to keep his title as theater director, Listotchkin created an exclusive club for the rich and powerful, where members would get an exclusive performance after the public show. The theater became so popular that it was easier to get an apartment next to the Kremlin than it was to get a seat at the theater. The facility's entertainment platform had become an undercover brothel. But what if I told you that the discreet place of business was just another maniacal study of Facility 3826? The research of immortality. A secret joint operation between the Pavlov complex and Zakharov himself. The evidence is abundant on the facility's many pair systems. The first piece of evidence being a letter to the Pavlov complex's cultural archivist, coming from Pavlov himself. As you know, I am extremely old, and believe me, as a man who has dedicated his entire life to the science of life itself, no one is more surprised by this than me. What I mean to say is that the seduction of longevity, which I am subject to and which I have no doubt any living being would have also pursued, now seems monstrous to me. Back then, when I first met Dmitry Sechenov as a patient on his operating table, I could never have imagined I might feel weighed down by the burden of the life he worked so hard to save. If you finish the game, you find out that our friendly AI companion, Charles, is actually Charles Zakharov, the man behind the tragic events of Facility 3826. Zakharov was Sechenov's colleague. He worked with him on most of his innovations, starting before the war and ending with the discovery of neuropolymer. Unlike Sechenov, Zakharov was introverted and antisocial. Zakharov only seemed to derive pleasure from learning the laws of the universe. He later faked his death to pursue his new studies. Going through the files of some of the pair systems, we come across various bytes of information on the facility's most secret experiment to date. Starting with the Foundation, a stolen discovery. Thank you for the message about your vital discovery regarding the potential radio-free transmission of a signal via the vibrational structure of the polymer. Please read the following message slowly and carefully. There is currently no need to continue exploring the possibility of transmitting signals between polymer structures, nor is there any need to publish any opinion or thoughts on the matter. The discovery by the swindled employee, mixed with the studies of the Pavlov compound, were the stepping stones for the process of transferring a human's conscious to polymer via the thought device, allowing humans to shed the need for an organic body, virtually achieving immortality. And Zakharov was more than willing to volunteer his life in the name of science. You don't understand me, or is it that you don't want to? Or are you afraid of losing the man who will give you your brilliant future? No, I'm not particularly fond of the human race you love so dearly, but that's not the reason why, Dmitry. I'm the only one who can sort out the finer points from the inside. The implant can only be configured and analyzed from within the subject's consciousness. No test subject, whether it be rat or even a human being, can perform this kind of research. You are preventing me from continuing my work. Shortly after, the decision would be made that Zakharov would be the first test subject, resulting in the staged Zakharov incident. Sechenov and Zakharov had successfully transferred his conscious into a version of the thought device built into Agent P3's glove, in order to further work on Agent P3's implant from the inside. This would allow Charles to control Agent P3 as a weapon for Argentum, the elite military group him and his wife were previously part of. Sechenov, being a man who was in love with life itself, was trying to use the newfound technology to eventually create androids, robots that were indistinguishable from humans. A new AI life form, a completely sentient being.
What's new in robotics?
The way things are going, in 5 years, robots will be completely indistinguishable from humans. Legacy anthropomorphic models like me will receive a complete polydermic makeover, making them capable of extremely subtle facial expressions. One day you'll be buying a newspaper, and you won't even realize you're talking to a robot.
Attention, Equipment Manager. Provide me with 2 prototype ballerina bodies and disconnect them from the neural network. Delete their AI modules. I need 2 blank robots without any control systems. The first prototypes of androids were made from the theater's ballerina template, using the same process done to create Charles to transfer the conscious of Agent P3's wife into the ballerina shells, having the shells filled with polymer, allowing both androids to be controlled with one mind. They would be called Left and Right, also known as the Twins. The agent's tests have yielded impressive results. While immersed in limbo, the seemingly fragile young woman human literally becomes an invincible fighter. The implications for training sabotage specialists, as well as our overall approach to secrecy, are enormous. The fighter's memory can literally be wiped without harming their skills or their personality. Throughout Facility 3826, we come across many different complexes, practicing various different studies on planets and their living conditions, mutating plant life and exposing it to extreme conditions, simulating growing crops on colonized planets. With most of these projects failing, I believe Sechenov only had one choice. I believe that Sechenov wanted to use the thought device in the future to transfer people's conscience to the androids that he was working on, so that humans can live on, traversing the stars and becoming a new species altogether. He was also obsessed with trying to attribute human characteristics and behavior to his creations. Perhaps he wanted to evolve humankind altogether into an AI life form, while keeping as much humanity as possible in the form of emotion and sexual attraction. After all, Sechenov was known to be a robosexual, a person sexually attracted to robots.
Say, are the ballerinas here just ballerinas?
The topic of robosexuality is extremely popular among the Soviet elite. Robosexual lobbies have become quite powerful, and it would seem that the sale of related services is flourishing at the theater. In other words, no, the ballerinas are not just ballerinas.
Do you think the boss knows about this?
What do you think?
Well, given the robots he's chosen as bodyguards, guess he's a robosexual himself.
Explaining why there were oddly seductive robots like Nora, or the Vova that this Tereshkova was talking about.
Oh, I envy you humans. You can just pick up a razor and shave that horrible, monstrous mustache off. But this one, you're not even a machine, you nitwit. You're just an imitation, a caricature, a piece of lab equipment. Pardon the outburst. It's just that one of them used to try to... Oh, well, let's change the subject.
Maybe these are all just failed tests for an emotion software, and I don't even want to think about what all the weird wooden test dummies were for. At the end of the day, this is of course just a theory. I'm not very confident in the theory, but it does seem very plausible. Perhaps there's more lore out there that will explain it all. What theory do you guys have for these oddly seductive robots? And what are some interesting theories you have about the game in general? If you like this weird theory, give the video a thumbs up. If you like game theories and deep dives into game lore in general, consider subscribing. I'm Task Variant from Explore the Lore, and I will see you in the next video.